And I hear my psychic blah, 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 talking over there. Well, are you ready to start, my darling? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Gallery Cabaret. I feel so out of sorts because I've been running around like mad because I've been really hyper about coming here and setting everything up because we've got a great feature this evening from Janine Ravis. And I get to hear that, well, why is this all behind me? Oh, today happens to be the birthday, or anniversary, your birthday of Chicago. So March 4th, good person. And if you happen to share a birthday, Janine told me that you can go to the Thompson Center, or no, Trust was saying you can actually, if you can prove it, today's your birthday, you can have a slice of cake.
So people should do Chicago.
Pardon me?
People should do poems about Chicago.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I suppose we could. I could pull one of mine off of memory if you wanted that, but I wasn't thinking that. But I was going to talk to you about a few things, and the first one's an announcement. Everybody keeps buying my proof copies of collection books, so 2011 is the most recent one that I have in my hand, which is a short one of just poems, but usually they're poems and prose. That they also have people that have been accepted for the writing award, the Editor's Choice writing thing. People can submit. I see people coming in with guitars and stuff for the. Hi, are you here for something that starts for a singer-songwriter that starts at after 9 o'clock?
Yeah, but I'll stick around.
If you want to drop a guitar or just hang out in back, and if we've got time, if you want to play guitar here, that's awesome. I'd love it. But the thing I was going to say about this is that every year we have this revolving contest. If there's a reading fee of $15 per poem or $19 for a short story, and if you are accepted, you get a copy of the book, and I'm going right after the table of contents here, and there's the contest winner before anything else in the book. And that happens in every annual issue. And some people who have past issues might have something from the contest winner.
So when can you submit?
Anytime during the year. I've just gotten submissions from 2 people already for the 2015 one. It goes to press.
Can they be previously published?
Previously published is fine as long as you retain the rights to it.
Okay.
And give me the reading fee and you're set for being considered for the contest. So I say these things unto thee because if you don't happen to be published in this thing somehow, you could actually apply for the Editor's Choice Writing Award. And look at you, you'd be in the front of the frickin' book, which is double plus awesome. So keep that in mind. I should keep it to less than 100 words with this, shouldn't I? I am going to read, because I'm just going to read things from different books from other people throughout this thing before I call up my Joffre for my first open micer. I thought I would read the 2 weeks worth of poems that are in this Need to Know 2015 Literary Date Book. The first one is this week's, and it's from C. Ra McCourt, who is a Nashville poet, a New Dreadful Press that now lives in Canada, and if all goes according to schedule, him and UK poet Oz Hardwick will both be featuring here in the beginning of May. So I wanted to throw this one out. This one was this week's poem that was called If You Read This Poem, Then You Will Die. That's what it said. I don't know why. You are more afraid than me of ceasing to be. Or maybe only ceasing to be able to make sense. You go after superstition like a housewife with a large economy-sized spray can of insecticide as darkness scatters into cracks on its hairy legs. I know, they're going to be like weird dark ones. And I thought it was funny that the next week's one, which I won't be here to read for you, is from Rex Sexton, and it is called This Is Not a Poem. Vague mention poem. Rex Sexton. Cold coffee, stale pastry, cheap whiskey, as the winter sky slides by the window of my cheap room. This is not a poem. It is a postcard from oblivion. Wish you were here, whomever you are. Wish I wasn't. This morning I found a message in a bottle floating in my toilet bowl. It said, lost dreams, failed schemes, unrequited loves. Please flush after using.
That's good.
The winds howl, the shadows prowl, the walls shriek, the windows rattle, the floorboards creak, and the sewers run to the sea. Wait for me. Rex Sexton. She's here from the literary people. Yay, so thought I'd share those with you. That's the value of sending short pieces. I tell these people, if you have something accepted and it's short, it might appear. You'll get to hear lots of cool stuff from cc&d and Down in the Dirt Stars publications throughout this evening, but in the meantime, please, I can put my hands down so I can applaud proper. Give it up for Joffre Stewart.
I'll read two, beginning with the one you have. Title, Damn Infernal Revenue Servitude. I resist paying taxes, maintaining the undertaxed level of poverty, which has been mine since the Great Depression, in order to undercut and destroy the war system, whose coercions helped make me a veteran, and therefore not pay the taxes which maintain IRS, which collects taxes, coerced labor, with the same violence that makes war. Denying forced labor taxes to the state ends the state, and by so doing contributes to disempowering the Masonic, bastard, Zionizing, Anglo-American, WASP Jewish ruling class, which has been the main propulsion for war for Israel in a context of global hegemony ever since Haitian slave-based Napoleon administered a whiff of grape shot to the French Revolution. Peace and freedom are inseparable. I join in resisting taxes for the vision of a planetary, zero-based society. Zero tax-based society, which is in the vision of National War Tax Resistance Coordinating Committee. Sincerely negative to chauvinism, yours truly, advocate of the Antichrist. At the beginning of, May Day, I expect to be in Milwaukee for a war tax resistance gathering. And so that gave me thought to come up with this. The title is the question. What is May Day like in Milwaukee? In two parts. One, Milwaukee, a place where Palestinianized pre-Columbians leave a trace of their language on a cityscape vying with Detroit and Chicago for segregation ratios, a birthplace of God, as impersonated by Jack Benny decades before George Burns rendered another Jewish version acceptable to the atheist community. Lakeshore home of silver shirts and gold in the ear, both impossible without Hitler, who died that Golda might go back where she did not come from, and superseded Hitler in a nuclear deal with Nixon. radically, let's labor the upstart Austrian. 2. Hitler, that socialist in power, the power that disempowers labor, did not live quite to May Day, dying in the accepted historical narrative like Caesar, Macbeth, Richard III, devoured by the history he made. Unless it be true that he died in South America, 1986. He made labor pay for running him off a job in Vienna. Like Reagan and Cheney, he was working class, which never works as ruling class. Although objectively, he resembles a tax resistor, never paying a prophetic to kill a Jew. In his personal narrative, he made the Jews pay for America getting in against him. Not having oil to burn like Saddam, he burnt the Jews. He knew what's what with the ruling class. He burnt the Jews. It's called saving the Jews. Not knowing what he was doing was the work of the Rothschilds, the hypno-programming cousins who ran him as a green candidate, evangelizing vegetarianism to his generals, employed for the creation of Israel out of the carnage of Europe, bringing Henry Kissinger to anti-third world power, malign neglector of Africa. Kissinger, the self-acknowledged ruler of the world, which can be done as a Brit spy in the State Department with a hard-on for communists. Even with murder warrants out for him in Spain or other places that care more for citizens, their citizens, than Uncle Sham gives a damn for you. Ruling class, necessary antagonist to working class, sees Bilderberger Kissinger at top of the Dow, almost dystopian sci-fi scenario. GE topping as entitlement for capital's German Jew. Just the presidency for you. And better shielded by media than FDR, no nosy asks, where was he? 12:29 p.m., November 22, 1963.
I think I heard on the Larry Wilmore show, he's like, well, I'm going to ask you guys a question. And it was about gun rights, and one of them he asked that didn't like guns. He's like, your choice. You have one of three choices. You can shoot him, and that means he'll be dead. You can shiv him, which means he'll be injured. Or you could try to talk to them and yell at them or stop or whatever. And it was the choices like, you're going to magically go back in time to 1923. At that point, Hitler's just a bad artist. What do you do? And they're like, shoot him. It's like, you can't do anything about it. I'm like, yeah, other than being the vegetarian artist wannabe. Like, woohoo. I'm going to read off two really short ones from these two books, which I have to share with you because these are issue collection books from cc&d and Down in the Dirt. This one has artwork on it from Patrick Feely.
Oh, really?
one solitary word. It's a painting. I show it to my husband. He's like, there are faces on there. There are eyes and a mouth, and if you flip it over, there are eyes and a mouth. And I'm like, it's an abstract number 4 is the painting. I'm like,
I didn't
well,
know he was in
Patrick, no, not Patrick Hurley. I don't know. This man lives in Los Angeles, I believe. And so, Patrick Feely, here's your book. And so I thought I would randomly pick one from here to share with you. And it's actually a poem that I am going to actually accept for a future issue of cc&d magazine. This is actually, the cool thing about these collection books is not only are they issues, they've got 3 issues of cc&d in them, they also have chapbook releases. People can submit chapbooks, and they're not going to be necessarily printed, but they can be appearing in a collection book like this. And this one, which was in the chapbook called I Love the Petting Zoo by Brian Looney, is actually this one piece I was going to accept for a later issue of cc&d. This is called Eat a Dog, Pet a Hog. Eat a dog, pet a hog. A sign on a stand 12 feet away. Hot dogs on rotisserie. Humans cannot live on hay. Sink your teeth into his all beef frank. Give the hog a thankful slap. Eat a dog, pet a hog. A very clean hog, so as not to mar the smell of the roasted swine, the most effective advertisement. And you can bet that the meat is fresh. And the hog, it has its snout between the horizontal bars and tongues the ravenizing scents. Eat a dog, pet a hog. Step right up, my boy. Now, what sort of dog would you like? Well, you got chili dogs, corn dogs, salty dogs, butter dogs, and my personal favorite, lava dogs. You just leave the hog for now and tell me what kind of dog I can get you. You know you gotta eat a dog before you pet a hog. Eat a dog, pet a hog. Load it up on the village. Get yourself a fountain drink. Toss a morsel at the hog. Watch him lap it up without a thought. Hear him brushly grunt and sniff it for more. Maybe he'll have his beady eyes set on you. Eat a dog, pet a hog by Brian Looney. And what must be done is to get this collection book from Down in the Dirt. This is the one at the same time for the same issues. What must be done? And this is actually the scene of driving back last winter in the god-awful weather, and it was in the middle of Indiana. And I'm like, this is the crazy street. So I was going to read a short one from this one that I've never read before. This was in an issue of Down in the Dirt, and this is by William F. Meyer, Jr., before I call up my Jerry Pendergast. I'm giving out his call-out warning so he knows. This poem is from William F. Meyer, Jr., because you don't want to confuse it with his father, I guess, but we've got the junior here. Mr. Meyer, this is yours. This is from a series. This is called Cave Woman, Caveman, Soliloquy 1. When I awoke, sad, I could feel the pain between my legs. I was so young, and he was so ugly. And he kept riding me like an old horse until I died. And the blood ripped. I was bleeding when I stopped to pee, and I saw the face in the river, and I shall never forget his face, my face, turning the water red, watching my woman's blood like a wounded man. William Meyer. Just cc&d and Down in the Dirt, just about the epic collection books of them both. I hope that my darling Jerry Pendergast has heard the call and is ready to get on up here. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jerry Pendergast! I don't know if you use the table.
Okay.
Or not.
Well, I should.
Whatever you do.
Yeah, I just tossed this together as kind of observations on my way here. We could call it Chicago's birthday, because that's what it is this evening. A hazy full moon, traffic and wind steady. I sidestep jagged ice. That probably qualifies as a legit haiku because it's got some nature in it, and you know what season it is. And not only is it Chicago's birthday tonight, but we'll cover a couple other things in this poem. It's Women's History Month, and you know Chicago is a jazz city.
Yeah, sure do.
Female non-vocalist, side woman, soon to record her first as a leader, steps forward, mimics a verse the crooner just sang. Drum, bass, and sax get quiet, then fade. She launches a solo, trumpeting the lyrics, with up-tempo twists, short quotes from The Stripper sprinkled in. She's at stage edge. A nod with her trumpet to a small group of dancers, one waving a scarf, another undoing a few shirt buttons, swiveling hips along to long sultry notes, drummer wading back in on the cymbals. As I said, this was, I suppose I haven't dedicated it yet, but I will now. This is called The Director. I mean, I think there still is an organization called Women in the Director's Chair. She stands next to someone in a tweed suit and tie, says, yes, this structure is modeled after an Escher woodcut. The money never came in for the roof in the tower. Only the dressing rooms are sheltered. Actors emerge, descending stairs in costume. Some bird or fish-like, some court jester-like, some appear faceless from my vantage point. All right, that was part one. Sorry there. This is part two. They enter the all-night cafe, trade a few quiet words. A jester and the bartender, barista, point to each other, laughing. The director chants a phrase. A couple rise from a table, take cue sticks. Balls roll on bright orange felt. She lifts her arm, opens, closes hand once. Someone emerges, I think from the kitchen, strums, sings next to the pool table. Musician's face seems to form more distinctly. She extends her arm. At shoulder height, a birdman descends from a balcony I had not noticed before. Somehow lands softly. A cop walks through the door, asks, "Do you have a license?" The director lifts a paper from her floor-length gown. I thought she had been wearing a shorter, more casual dress. The reporter loosens her tie, asks one of the jesters to dance. When the cop has driven away, there steps an artful stumble, Chaplin-esque. I wonder, was the cop fooled, or did I see him earlier in a different costume? How are we on time?
You're well on time.
This is called Risen Just Above Freezing. Leafless branch steady, in mild wind, soft icicle drips on surface roots. Icicle hanging from branch, half thawed, refrozen, tossed by wind, hits car. Thank you.
You're getting very sad.
Thank you, my darling. I'm trying to be more. This is a noisy mic, forgive me for it. I'm not, before I call it my Susan Moss, who actually is going to be featured here on Tax Day, of all days, on April 15th. But because this is the birthday of Chicago, I'm going to try to do from memory a Chicago poem of mine, which John read it and he's like, I didn't understand this poem, and then he heard me read it and he's like, oh, now I understand it. This is called New to Chicago. I'm still new to this city. I know I've lived here for years, but I haven't gone to the Sears Tower Observatory since my junior prom. But every time I walk by that first Chicago building with its parabolic pillars sloping up toward the sky, every time I walk by that first Chicago building, I walk up against one of those pillars, and I press my body against that cold concrete and look up to the sky. I press my body and feel the cold against my chin, my breasts, my thighs. And then I look up at that curve, stretching toward the sky. I could see something come racing down at me. A marble, a bowling ball, a 2-ton weight, a matchbox car, a race car. I see that speed, that power, and it almost makes me afraid to look up. But every time I walk by that first Chicago building, I do the same thing. I do this little ritual, and it feels like the first time. Yay, Chicago. Now, because I got to do something like sexy and girly sounding, I'm going to call up one of my awesome girls, Susan, my darling. Give it up for Susan Moss. Come on up here. Good to see you.
I know her. Nope. She got my height just right. Glad you're all here tonight. Thank you. I'm going to read a couple pieces from Skylines, which is the anthology that came out this past year from the Poets Club of Chicago as the 78th anniversary anthology.
A little louder.
Oh, okay. Thank you. How's that? Is that better?
Yep.
Thanks. Okay, this one is called Ice Folly. We walk on a frozen lake with creaking ice, thinning and pooling at the edges, and find a glimpse that lies beneath shrouded waters creeping toward the middle of our lives. Knowing that nothing can last, we keep moving farther out on a rigid surface into spreading twilight, searching for a safer path to the other side before darkness conceals the way. Depending what age you are, or if you just know certain music, you might recognize some of the references here. This is called Road Trip, based on a story that becomes quite clear in the poem. 3 hours down the highway between St. Paul and Chicago, my life's songs begin to sing on the radio. Chances are, to hound dog, the miles slip into years while Wisconsin bison stand in snowy corn stubble, and another station advises women to be good role models for their daughters, who should learn to treat their husbands right. A donation of $14 will buy a book on how to create domestic harmony, which brings me back to the oldies station and the soundtrack of my youth, speaking in Father Knows Best voices, saccharine with myth and promises. Farms fade into prefab houses, spreading like buckthorn over rolling prairie. And there's that song, Country Roads, but that's West Virginia, not the Midwest F. Scott Fitzgerald tried to forget. A store offering naughty novelties and baked goods begins the end of radio signals, tracing my way home.
Nice.
And the last one I'll read is what stays and what goes. Afternoon sun betrays dust bunnies lurking down halls, behind the dresser and under the bed. Each cleaning reveals more mundane intruders that hide what lies beneath their fuzzy tracks, filling shadowy corners of my life and collecting again after every futile effort to shake off or sweep away the inevitable until I am consumed by dust.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Why do they thank me after that? You don't have to thank me. You're the one that's awesome. You came up here and did your reading here. And that is what this space is all about. That is the one thing that David Rubin ingrained in us host-like people from the beginning. Because this is a space that is welcome and open, and of course you're welcome, of course. Now I'm sitting here holding off this bag and acting like either I drink this, which I actually don't, but this is supposed to be something to put your life savings into for a phenomenal feature from Janine Rapsley, because you didn't give it up once more. I can't put it, clap it with my hands, give it up to Janine. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Woman's Hit, who said, like, oh, by the way, you're looking for children, tutors, and daily stuff, and she's in every bonus issue. I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So I want you to put your life savings into this, and in the meantime, I'm going to call up Mr. And I saved it for number 4 because I'm going to debunk that number 4 is the asshole myth. Because he's my little Mr. Adorable. Please give it up for the officer himself, Mr. Bob Rashkow.
Look, it's just two.
That's not because I don't know how to.
Almost missed it.
Thanks. It's so cold, but Janine's voice is so warm. And we're all looking forward to hearing all the things she's got for us tonight. Okay, this is a new one. It's called A Ride to Morton Grove.
I want you to keep that down so I can photograph you.
Okay. Here. Get out of my way, wire. Okay, all right. A ride to Morton Grove, 1 foot off the porch, the other quivers and fidgets. The driveway is hazardous. I stand at my station just this side of the front door, peering with a slight quiver through the illusory panes of glass. The king awaits his coachman, who will attend him to the house of 7 brothers, where he will dine in elegance and splendor. No. He may partake of a pecan roll or a cup of tea, and engage his friends in current events conversation, with a sharp focus on the company, not the content. This, then, is my life, keeping watch on his progress, as he putters and hobbles along from one moment to the next, one hand reaching the ominous signpost, the other shaking uncontrollably, announcing his 87 years. I stand watch, the footman at the gates, until he wills his weary old body into Eugene's carriage, and they shove off to Morton Grove. This, then, is my life. Watch, reassure myself, worry, spite, feel ashamed, reassure him, reassure me. Find the love that's there, hidden under branches and twigs of bitterness, shame, and disgust. Banish fields and valleys of guilt. Banish it to the dark, dusty, abandoned caves of oblivion. The signpost waits patiently for both of us to arrive. All right, that's the heavier one. Do I have time to read 3 tonight?
Yes, you always have.
Because Eric's here and he hasn't heard the poem that I dedicated specifically to him.
You should always, definitely. You are my guy. You are my sidekick.
This is right here, isn't it? had the place. Stupid. Here it is. This is untitled. It was written a couple of years ago at Jack's Tap in response to a news item. Emptiness paid for, soon to be filled, just because it exists. It exists in a void, in a faraway place. No sane American would ever visit. Ever visit Afghanistan for the thrill of it? For fun in the sun? The sun still drenches us with the heat of its motherly grace. Grace means masturbatory satisfaction to the Pentagon dickheads who appropriated this huge place. Land on your feet for a change and smell your own cum. It's a gift from the sun.
Wow.
And specifically dedicated to Mr. Eric Esden, I have Maid of Honor.
I think you read that at your 7-7.
I was inspired by your style of writing, Eric.
I think you read that at your 7-7 or 7-7.
Yeah, I might have read it there.
What you coming up with?
Just gotta find it first.
At Jack's,
Come on.
before we moved. Waiting for the bus.
Oh, the feature we did together?
Yep.
Yeah, I probably did. Let's get this video. I should put markers in there. I'm sorry, guys. Here it is. Maid of Honor for Eric Esden. Your sister caught her groom in shining armor, and the time for sharing her joy has come, Maid of Honor. Special pink gown fitted just so. Mother crows how natural you look. Anyone would think you wrote the book on getting through this day with style and class, Maid of Honor. The day is not complete without your pal Kim, so feel free to sneak out and cop a joint. At first, Mom won't even notice you're gone. In 14 years, Kim will oversee your troths, but not before getting hitched herself. And that day, it'll be Sister's turn to be Maid of Honor. Late getting back to meet Mother's stern glare, but just in time to serenade the two. Some chords from Stevie Nicks will do. Just fine. You're showing for the game. Why didn't the bouquet have your name, Maid of Honor? Thank you.
Yeah, video from him reading that piece from his "This Poetry Is Money" or "Science versus Insanity," or I don't know what it was called, but as July 7th, 2014 is available online with YouTube, and that is my cue where I'm supposed to tell you that we are in cahoots with the NSA because we like to monitor everything you're doing, and that is why this open mic is video recorded. And because we've got a feature from Janine Ravensland, who's going to be a podcast and a YouTube clip, the open mic will also be one. If somebody says, "Oh dear God, don't put me on," I can delete you, but, you know, it is there available for you. My gift.
Like the NSA.
I'm here for you, just like the NSA. Yeah, exactly. So before I call up Mr. Tom Roby, who's making wonderful commentary, I was going to read one poem from the current issue of cc&d magazine, which is called "The Curve of Arctic Air," which was another horrific scene from driving across the country last year.
What's the title again, please?
The Curve of Arctic Air, which is very fitting when the weather is so bad like this. No kidding, the curve of Arctic air. Wish I'm curving it for everybody to see. This is a really short one called, and I haven't read it recently, called "The Herd" by Catherine B. Krauss. The ruthless beaks of the chickens, the ravenous appetites of the mother rodents, the giant erect cocks of the elephants congregating around the watering hole to exchange gossip. That's all that's there. That's all that's there to that one. Catherine, sorry. You don't quite expect that ending for it. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Tom Roby. Come on up, my darling.
Thank you, Janet. You're out there, okay. Some of you may know my day job as a philosopher, and I wrote a few poems about it. And so we'll start with a villanelle called Truth with Venetian Blinds. Because the truth is infinite, I tilt the slats that use their shade to let the light in bit by bit. I see my room becoming lit, its dreams, its verse. Guess a quest I've made because the truth is infinite. Philosophers, sophistic wit, urbane, obscure, left me afraid to let the light in bit by bit until I found we're all unfit to gaze at suns in full cascade because the truth is infinite, extends my scope, won't let me quit. I open more, expose charade by letting light in bit by bit. This is the view I will transmit. Tilt more slants. Reduce what's grayed. Because the truth is infinite, I'll let the light in bit by bit. And here is a Zen lesson. And the central character here, besides the Buddha, is Mahakasyapa, who, according to legend, this was the sermon in which he discovered the meaning of Zen, and therefore he is called Mahakasyapa, the great Kasyapa. When the disciples gathered to hear Gautama Buddha's mountaintop sermon on how to find the way, he simply raised a solitary sunflower beginning to wilt in noonday heat. Only Master Mahakasyapa gave his quiet smile. But why the smile? Did he see what her blossom eye had already seen of the wilting cycle? Or had he figured out that the sunflower was a stand-in for the stainless lotus? Or that suns and mountains are as temporal as a sepal? Or that he understood he didn't understand? Or was it to return her smile? Which reminds me of a short haiku, which I call Zen Again. This one is about Milarepa, a great Tibetan saint, and this was based on a statue that I saw when I was in Tibet. Everybody should go. And Zen Again. Suddenly, thunder. Milarepa slaps his face. Sound of one hand clapping. I've been trying to figure that one out for decades. And then, of course, you can't have philosophy without education, and you can't have education without educational reform. So here is a true story from the front lines. in my teaching career. Registration is light at the college. The English faculty has vanished into the night. No one left to judge writing skills based on entrance essays. Not much business in humanities. Josie and I volunteer. A few passable essays, mostly grim reaping for remedial classes. Next day, Harry, the department chair, all bent out of shape, complains, "We failed to use the consultant's new improved writing evaluator." We say it makes no difference, that any alley cat can sniff out bad writing. We debate Harry until I make a challenge. He gets to pick anyone in English to grade the same essays with us. If there is a difference, we will learn the innovative technique, cover more evening shifts for the rest of registration. The results are the same. Harry apologizes. I was afraid the program wasn't working the way it's supposed to. Anyway, we have to meet the mandate, so please don't freelance again. Educational reform.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. There's people who say I'm products of the Chicago educational system, or the public. I thought it would, before I...
That was, I'm a victim of the Chicago public school system.
Oh, that's what he always said, I'm a victim of the Chicago public school system, yes. And he was the guy that actually managed the backup thing for all of the stock exchange after 9/11. We're like, we could be up in hours, but they want to have a little time off for it, but that's what happens with the computer guys. I thought I'd read something really, really short before I call it my Lynn West, because for people who don't know, I was in India last month too, and John's leaving for India tomorrow, and it's Friday, it's pissed me off. It was fascinating. It was great as a vegetarian to go and be able to be comfortable in what you eat, but how you're treated as a woman is not the greatest. So, but I read the paper a lot because I couldn't go out a lot on my own, and this was one thing that I read. I won't tell you the time. Well, it was January 22nd, 11:20 at 1 a.m. IST, which was the night before midnight. I wanted to share this bit of writing with you because I really enjoy reading these papers because they have the greatest stories if you're just going to go reading the paper. I found this one innocuous headline: "Student arrested for murdering a 55-year-old." And I thought, well, that sounds generic enough, but then I remembered that reading the article could prove to be a much more fascinating story, so I read on. The Boboli police arrested a man whose wife, who was visiting her sister for the past month, was not around to know that he started having a sexual relationship with an older man. But afterward, the married man asked the older man to pay him money for his sexual favors. And the older man wouldn't pay him, so he killed him. Then, after he killed the older man, he tried to cover his tracks. Now this is funny. He tried to cover his tracks, this is good, by spraying chili and masala powder all around. I don't know, to steer the sniffing dogs away, I guess, or something. It didn't work. Of course, they found the arrested man a little bit later because, he killed an older man because after he was having an affair with him, he wanted him to pay him money and he wouldn't get it, so he decided to kill him. And I'm like, this is why I read the Times of India or the Deccan Times. Like, these are fascinating. You just read these little blurbs. It was awesome. Anyway, this is what my journal is like, these most bizarre stories. Now, though that had nothing to do with ladies or whatever, other than being away while a guy's having a tryst with an older man, I don't know. Please, I haven't seen this lady in a while. Oh my God, I'm so looking forward to it. Ladies, everybody give it up for Lynn West. Come on over here, darling.
How are you?
I'm calming down.
Are you wonderful? Are you wonderful woman?
Now that you're here.
So good to see you again. So good to see everybody here, my friends. It's a pleasure. Anyway, Today I will say some poetry because I want to, and one I'm going to say is like about the woman, and the woman is a witch. Yes, a witch, witchy woman. Haha. But anyway, here we go. Okay, okay, good. Okay. Tied to the tree you are, with a pile of dry wood surrounding your feet. The eyes are fiery as they accuse you of their sins. You watch them holding in your heart what you know to be true as they curse and scream, self-righteously ranting the pain of their passions as you wait to be one more time consumed by who you are. Thank you. Which way do I go? This way? That?
Whichever you want to do.
Whichever way.
Whatever's going
I can go both ways. How about you? No. AC/DC. Some other fellow as well as me. Maybe. But anyway, the valley so low. In the land of broken dreams, I am queen. Sitting on my throne, my subjects appease me. I face my books, and they follow me. King Arthur and Lancelot both have their places, as simple joys remain simple forever. And Don Quixote rides his horse without fear in the land of broken dreams. Choose your own ending. Books are in order as I flirt with possibility. In the land of broken dreams, the dolls in the valley come out of their glass cases and begin to dance. Their flat faces smile as they help me dance the broken dream. Now I lay me down to sleep, praying that my soul is, and if I die before I wake, still praying as the sirens gently sing their lullaby, and I am whisked away to the land of broken dreams. Thank you. So thirsty I was one day, I fell into the well. Just out of my reach, that which could quench my thirst landed with a splash. That's it. Okay. I want to be a feather in your cap, bright, free, flying in the breeze, catching a glimpse of what you see, proudly on top for the play, which tickles your soul and captures your imagination. Just a fine feathered friend who will be there on a gray day. Your cap, your wonderful fine chapeau. And in the millinery of our minds, we look in the mirror and we see each other and make funny faces. It happened one day, poised in front of the mirror, looking at a reflection of what it should not be. Bad hair day. Tossing the strands here and there, this way and that, it dawned on me. Get rid of it. So delighted was I at the thought. Have always been bold, a leader, cutting edge, so to speak. The time is now. Yep, off with it all. Razor safe, better hurry. Big meeting, mustn't be late. The golden locks fell with grace on the floor as I smiled, showered, put on my best suit, and took off. Felt like an animal in a cage at the zoo as I made the entrance. My superiors had an uneasy look on their faces. I was pulled over to a private meeting room soon. When asked what was wrong, I responded, nothing. Why? They tried to whisk me off, to the department that could help. I insisted on keeping all my appointments and leaving the meeting. Standing straight, with a sense of purpose, I began. The room was audibly quiet as curious glances prevailed. The message of the meeting was clear. In addition, a funny thing started to happen in that corporate world. First, senior partner Charles Steinbrück gave up the comb-over and 6 strands lost forever. And people began to talk again, and my hair grew back, and life went on. Thank you.
See, on days like today when my hair was too bad, I was too chicken to chip off my hair, so I wore a hat. I'm like, no, I don't have to style it, just shove a hat on. And
It was a great idea.
and nobody asked any questions.
I talked to you, Janet.
No, well, I don't know if you want to have that. Now, because I was walking up now I remember who was up. I heard his lovely voice as you were saying that. And I love it when he shows up and he makes me all gooey, and I love hearing his voice, and I'm just going to stop rambling like an idiot. Please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Eric Esden. Eric, my darling. My darling. If anybody has anything about Chicago that they want to read, since apparently, yay! That's, so, that's
178, yes.
yeah, so
Thursday.
that's you. I don't know if you were here. I read like New to Chicago on
No.
the top of my head. I'm like, I'll do something. So if anybody has anything, keep that in mind.
Okay, so you 178 years. That's a birthday of today's day, Chicago. So Chicago. There are about, hold on. There are about 2.5 million souls or more along the Lake Michigan shore, east or west of State Street, north or south of Madison Street long corridor, living more or less peacefully, colors and races as rich and as entire human array. They work, they create, they live their lives, cutting grass, planting and watering flowers, or spraying bullets. Most question it, why? Having in common love of life, the Chicago vibrating hearts, variety of music, from rock to swing or blues, the beat of the drums, like nails pierce through the playing on construction site. Love, indifference, or hopelessness, from outbursts of happiness to sadness of broken hearts. They do have it all. They sing, they paint, they dance, they play guitars or compose songs on late hot summer nights. They live their lives immersed in the vital fiber of Chicago's city blocks. Chicago days. As I close my eyes, I drown deeper and deeper into the retrospective ocean of the past. Kaleidoscopic images flash within, the blindness of my eyelids creating life of their own that revolved around the timelessness of the inner spirit. It was the best when everything was new, like a child. It was the connection with the sin that has made me find myself opening the gate to the imagination that Lady Derman, all those years, reached out to the city of dreams. It's where my heart belongs. From 1,000 friendships, only a few remain true. I love them all, for they are part of me, just as in the past. Yet, past is never ending. Nirvana. Grey days, months, and years, one after another passed. Never to erode my soul, nor my vision or mine. Violently broken ocean cliff, the close of passing time, dismembering all in one, to the extent, and it's that. A new decamer falling right from the sky, burning the weeds within the territory of mine, along the passing time, enabling me to sense the flowers, the meadow and its grass, the feeling and so much awaited touch, telling me how chosen, how lucky I am. Because of you, I can touch the bloom of love again. So comforting state, my flourishing nirvana, my dreams, in which I intend to stay. Thank you very much.
And you finished your beer already. I guess you'll have to get another.
Before I call up Dan Weinberg, I thought, because you may not have been here before, the January-February issues of cc&d and Out of the Dirt Out, including Down in the Dirt's Treading Water, which is a really cool, it makes you think of something nice and warm versus the really cold weather we've been having here. I was going to read actually a piece of prose, because we don't have to be all poetry all the time or something. This is by Robert Bates and is called Knockout. Mark wants to beat your ass, Julian had warned me at the beginning of the school day. More like Mark is going to beat my ass. Everyone knows I can't fight. I sit in my seat wondering what will happen next. Julian sees my worried face and says, "Relax, I got your back." The teacher walks out and I can feel Mark watching me. Rachel whispers, "It'd be really funny if you win," into my ears from her seat behind me. I turn and Mark is in my face. He pushes me and I instinctively push him back. He hits me and I'm on the ground, completely disoriented. I wait for another punch to come, but it never does. I finally regain my senses and I get up to see Julian holding Mark with his arms pinned behind his back. "If you're gonna do something, do it now," he says, struggling to hold him. I hit Mark 3 times with my left hand, and then he elbows Julian and breaks free. He charges at me, and before I can react, his fist connects with my jaw. I wake up with Rachel in my face. That was pretty funny, too. Down the Dirt and cc&d magazines are both here. If you want to know anything about them, come and bug me any old time. And in the meantime, give it up. All right, I keep saying please give it up for, this guy's really cool. And and I won't say, well, yeah, hell, what the hell, I'm going to say it. Please, give it up for Dan Weinberg. Come on up, Dan. Yeah.
Thank you, Janet. Well, I've been published in cc&d and Mad Magazine in the past year.
All right.
So I'm going to read my letter and the response from Mad Magazine. So my letter says, "I have been subscribing to Mad since 1865. My magazines are piling up. What can I do?" That's my whole letter. And their answer is quite involved. Dry White Weinberg. What can you do? Why, you can rush to your yellowing pile right this second and tell us all about the issues between 1865 and 1952, the fabled lost years. Mad has been officially publishing since '52, but we've heard whispers of underground Mads printed in church basements and prairie cabins that delighted readers from the Civil War era through the first Eisenhower years. We can hardly believe that they actually exist. Where to begin, Daniel?
For starters, please respond with detailed descriptions of snappy answers to stupid questions. Little Bighorn edition. Overheard at Herbert Hoover's inauguration. And a mad look at the Smoot-Hawley Terrifact. Please hurry. Since you're 150 years old, you don't have much time. Thank you. That was from April issue. It's out now at your local bookstore. You can get it. Quick, run. Okay. So I wrote a little poem. I don't know if you call it a poem. The name of it is Where is Alfred E. Newman? Is he at Charlie's place? Has he retired? Has anyone located him? Is he still alive? Is he hiding in Mexico or Israel or Papua New Guinea? Has he ridden his bike too far? Has he smoked too much marijuana or drank too much vodka? Is he laying on the side of a road waiting for Godot? Has he made his last joke, sneer, shock, cynical statement? Has he married a Russian bride and lives in St. Petersburg? Has he gone to the funny farm, retirement home, nursing home, all of the above? The last ha-ha hotel? Was Alfred expelled from the Garden of Eden? Was he left behind at the Exodus? Did he miss the Last Supper? Or did he miss the last train? Has he smoked his last joint? Has he kicked a can? Has he written his last poem? Has he bought the farm? Was Alfred in the Ukraine? Was he in Israel? Will he be coming back this way? Thank you.
I left a moment of silence here because we are going to have an open mic coming up here that I never get to see, which is wonderful. And they are not going to be on the open mic video. So you guys have a real treat. I have seen this one from the past, and it's great to hear her. But you guys get the treat that you know nobody else is going to hear this recording other than just us. So please, give it up for our next open micer, who happens to also feature with me at Vito's event at the Art Colony on March 14th. Please, give it up for Dina Stewart. You know, I was just really way too mellow for that. Give it up for Dina Stewart, come on!
Hello, it's been a long time. Okay. Thoughts I have about the moment you abandoned we. Be honest now. Honesty is necessary and desired here. Was your commitment merely a myth? And my phone just is a myth also. You contemplated late in my love for you. You and I did not yet sum up 15 years, nor had the raven-haired girl yet figured in. I promised you that we'd never lose sight of the moon. You promised me that if I asked, you would have the moon inhabit our living room. The moon promised us nothing but brief relief from vacant nights. What will happen when the world witnesses this death? The raven will be glad to become me, the moon to become your contentment, I to inhabit each night vacant. A poet has lost her myth, a fool has lost his pale bird, and I have lost my brilliant moon and the ability to ignore the wound and the gauze that disguises the vacancy. Be honest now. How do you define regret? This is after the death of the woman who raised me. She just died a couple of months ago, and we didn't have a mother-daughter relationship. It's titled, I Tried to Paint You, Post-Mortem. There is nothing like this death. No color after which I can name it. I searched the storm cloud that was your life. and only found a hollow rainbow, colors fading from my mind. Black. Black, as cliche as it is, wouldn't fit because it has depth. And your leaving is shallow as a wink and a dismissive wave. Goodbye. Red has fire, so wrong in describing your thin as snowflake melting on my tongue, words that you spoke before I left. Orange, no. All fire and energy, snap and spark. And you lie here still, here but not really. For years ago I had already blotted the memory of you, and I had replaced it with the rainbows I had painted in my infancy. I buried you with every hue. There are no colors left after which to name this death, only the emptiness of winter storms past. Blues, perhaps, but blue can be dark and fueled by mystery. No mystery in your seizing breath, or baby blue, so filled with promise. No, you failed to fulfill your forever promise to me. And yellow is taboo in even the most celebrated eulogy. And so, I know I cannot paint you in this moment. I cannot paint you in your death. I will instead seek the storms that I remember, and in your honor, I will attempt to paint the colorless wind. Thank you.
And now, very carefully hold this mic, and I pass it to Stan like you wouldn't believe. And I say hi and back. I want to let the last two open micers know because I want to make sure our phenomenal feature gets her space. We got a little over 10 minutes, but keep it at 3 or under 5 minutes just to make sure that we're covered because I don't know if we can run the light today. I don't know. So let's make sure we can give this woman as much space as she deserves. Did you just yell I could? Yes. You are darling. Well, we probably shouldn't just go crazy with the open mic. Be like, oh, they got 40-minute open mic. No, so you understand how it goes. So, now that I just did my PSA for this bar, or something. Anyway, such a buffoon. Anyway, this guy, oh my god, this guy has just released an amazing book. Because it's not even a book, but it is a book. But it's a box with a bunch of individual pages that are all folded into each other. And they're really, really cool. And Laguna Editions is the thing, and they just released this book, and they just had an event, and they asked a few people to read. I think Janine might have read, and a few other offices might have read. It was really, really triple plus awesome. And now I'm going to stop talking about it because I'll let him rave because, well, he'll have to do it very briefly because then he can talk very briefly and read his poem. Please, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Paul Ryan!
Thanks, Janet. Another Walmart poem.
Woohoo! Walmart poems.
The ghost of Sam Walton walks the shoulder of the road, walked miles to get to the griddle of the Walmart parking lot. The automatic doors open and close. The fluorescent lights each begin to hiss. In the security reaction lounge, two guards see his familiar finger. He appears in women's clothing. Old Sam taps the empty changing rooms. An old man in Chinese pants, a Taiwanese wristwatch, and a t-shirt made in Nam. He walks up and down in women's stockings. He stops and licks each and every package of pantyhose. And when the guards at last come out, old Sam stays just long enough to be seen on camera, touching himself where blurs, where blurs, where blurs. The guard with his headset calling to no one listening. No one's here. All clear, and the automatic doors open and close.
I wasn't trying to rush people out. I really wasn't. And now I'm so triple plus excited because we get a lot of people that I've known and seen that come around. But when I get a newbie that comes in here and like Just in that little marker like, Lewis, is that okay? Do I have the room? And I'm like, oh my God, you so have the room. Oh, because well, no, I'm not going to go so far as to say he's the version, but what we should do is give him the most applause ever. Please give it up for Lewis.
Oh my gosh. All right, so it was a little while ago. All right, so it was a while ago, but
this was like a.
yes, and you were yeah, because you were crutch free, I guess.
I am crutch free.
You were crutch free. Yeah.
Oh.
Hi.
This is a poem by Roberta. I'm going to read a poem by Roberta Coppenfield. She's a 16-year-old lady, and she is inside of my thing. Let's see. Okay, this is a poem about a comment on journeys and laying paths that lead towards doors and others that people may or may not use. Spread like butter, May seems nice until the heat has had to beat. So spread, we may all be enticed, though also may we be at thrice. Thrice is nice, twice too many. Once is not regarding love. Give her grace a graceful bow, her solid life that leads you well. When heaven's angels fall from grace, so needles while in hell. To give and take, so reckless leaves, such waste to never give again. Hands that rip the fruit from place, devour seeds upon their faces. Man and child alike will taste. The same to dark hound's tooth, bark and bite prove bitterly. Battered, tattered, torn and rapes, grits and gripes and grapes for whites. The reds to wipe the fears away. Tearful south, never again. Heaven's tears do fall in place. Gates of hell will turn to dust and rush to withered, molten, rotten place. Produced to fancy what is real, but never known to taste true love. Apples rotten, soft and supple, rot the nut inside your gut. Sow the seed, raise the land, starry nights will guide the hand. Harvest food, sow love and needles not. 3 pricks, Poseidon shivers when Trishula's in Shiva's hand. Consume the green, to dream no drudgery. Carry naught but stick in hand, and satchel sitche vete. Leave nothing brought upon the land, to go in peace arrive with Pithe. Peter means a rock of stone, but Luis means famous warrior. The start of bittersweet does end in sweet, defeating rain. Though loss is synonym to grief, no gain is love without some pain.
Wow. That is experience.
Okay. All right, so I guess like a lot of people are getting shot by people who enforce laws and stuff because they misinterpret actions, okay? But what's the difference between the law enforcement agent who is misinterpreting an action and us, or who, ourselves, when we misinterpret somebody else's words or actions against each other and we shoot them down with words because we misinterpreted what they meant to say to us. The only difference is the bullet. So, and the coverage. So this is interpret me. I see you walking and talking and saying to me, hello, how are you? And get away from me. I pull you in, you push me away. It's okay. You don't understand what I meant to say. What I meant to say is what I meant for you. Love, not hate or irate news. It seems like a bore. It seems like a fun thing to do. It seems like a burden, and it seems like a chore to choose understanding. Understated statements. That's it. Thank you.
At the end of this open mic, I'm going to talk about upcoming features and stuff, but I thought I'd throw out for those of you who don't look at it online, www.chaoticarts.org/thecafe, for the Cafe Gallery here. We do have some available dates in 2015. There are some people I see here who have not chosen a feature. Eric Esden, I'm looking at you. But I mean, if you don't have something scheduled for 2015, well, I didn't mean you. I know you don't. But I'm like, if you don't have something scheduled for 2015 and are interested in something, come and bug me or get online and look for available dates. Also, if a date is taken that you're desperately wanting, oh my God, I wanted that date in July or August or whatever, we can have 2 features in every given space. You just don't hear me babble as much. Or something with this backdrop behind us. It would be a perfect occasion to take a group photo. Exactly. I'm like, why did I think of this? We should all get up here as soon as we're done or whatever and take a picture because I think it'd be great. So I just want to say that so people don't leave yet because I'm going to talk about upcoming features. But before the next feature, which is on March 18th, well, I happen to have a feature going on with Vito Carly, and I believe Dina has it with me as well, which I don't know details of, but if you come out on March 14th to the Art Colony, there are 4 features and it'll be a really cool time, and I'm doing brand new pieces, and I was thinking maybe I'll resell them here. I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do that because you guys have to come to that. Then on the 18th though, 2 weeks from now, which is not 3, but 2 weeks from now, we've got Tom Roby. We had a great feature from Tom Roby going up. Give it up for Tom. I applaud like an idiot there. And then, actually, 2 days later, Robin Fun is hosting a thing from Sci-Fi, which is a science fiction thing that's downtown in Chicago. And on Friday, I believe myself, I believe possibly Bob Rashkow, I believe possibly Dave Getchik and other people have performances that day. So check out stuff online for that. If you want to know anything about that, come to me for it, because I think that'd be the coolest thing, because I get to read a bunch of Star Trek stuff, which is crazy, because I haven't had a chance to be able to share this with everybody about Leonard Nimoy. Yeah, all right, I don't want to, because I believe we'll all live long and prosper, and I love you guys all. So, and that's all. I'm not going to get all stupid. I won't let it happen. But the thing is, after those 2 weeks, it happens to be April 1st. We got a double feature night. Not only do we have Sid Yiddish in the... Yes, which is why we've got Sid Yiddish and the Henchman, and we've got Dallas Malice that's going to be there as well. Which would be so freaking awesome, you have no idea. And I believe this lady is here on tax day, April 15th. We've got Susan Moss, all rock on. And then April 29th, which I believe might be a late night here, because sometimes the last Wednesday has to be taken by somebody else for 7 to 9. We might be from 9 to 11, but we've got Paul Ryan himself.
Oh, no!
No, we've got the awesomest Paul Ryan, who happens to be here right now. Though Paul's just, every time I see it on Facebook, JOS period, don't just say Paul Ryan because people freak out. So, and I could tell you, well, I started to tell you about May just before, because we have the UK poet Oz Hardwick along with C. Ron McGuirk, who is from Nashville, Tennessee, who is now in Alberta, Canada. And I can continue going on about this, but you can always check out the website, www.chaoticarts.org/thecafe to get the schedule. And thank you all so much. I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks, and thank you, and I hope you guys are all coming up here for a photo. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I hope to see all of you this coming Friday, March 6th, at the Roots Room, 5203 North Kimball.
Yeah. Oh, that's a
Which
I don't know
one is
what we
that,
do for
Jerry?
height. I'm figuring since I'm the tall
Jerry,
one, I've got to be
which
able
one
to.
is that?
Yeah,
The roots room, open stage, open mic. That's
I
spoken
don't know what
word.
I'm doing between here.
Spoken word, every first Friday.
I'm feeling hidden.
I'm a short guy.
You guys want chairs?
Oh yeah, we can go on our toes. We're going on our toes. John, you have to see. Oh,
Honey, you have to get next to me.
All right, here we go.
Honey, get next to me.
What's wrong?
oh, wait. No,